Tony Polk. I operate the Senior Advocates Network, and I'm here with Peter Brown. When I say here, it's kind of a misstatement because I'm in the Phoenix area and he's just outside of Chaing Mai, Thailand. Peter operates one of the finest assisted living homes in Thailand. There are not many there, but increasingly Americans are utilizing these offshore services, quite frankly, because of the level of care and the level of the cost. Peter, tell me a bit about your facility and the number of Americans that are there and what's happening to that portion of your business.
Okay, ours is a family business. We've been open 3 years. We set up a care facility triggered by the fact that my mother was in a care facility in England, and every year the amount of care went down and down. And I started looking for somewhere that got better care levels, and I couldn't easily find them, so I decided a better way to do it, so we set up our own care facility. We have two key philosophies: always be enough care, and the second is we focus heavily on people's freedom of choice, maintaining their dignity. So we don't have things like set meal times, we don't have set food, everybody chooses from a menu, they can eat when they want. And we try to allow people to do as much towards being a normal life as possible. To achieve that, you need a lot of carers. We have 2 licensed nurses, and everybody else, what we call caregivers, they've done 1 year, what they call here nurse aid training. So they've done wound control, hygiene control, CPR. So they've done 1 year's nurse training. We don't take anybody from the streets at all. So we take them after 1 year's nurse training, and then we give them care training, because there is no care training here as yet. So we do our own.
Okay, so let's talk about pricing for just a moment. So single room, standard care, what are they going to pay a month?
$1,342 US.
That's all in? That's all inclusive?
Meals, care, electricity, laundry, personal laundry, daily room cleaning, excursions, activities. Yeah, it's all in. It doesn't include buying your bottle of whiskey or buying new clothes, and it doesn't include healthcare from the hospitals and doctors, but yeah, it's all in. We have basically 4 levels of care. The first level is basic care. Basic care means you can get up in the morning and you can bathe and dress yourself. I don't care if you need 4 insulin injections a day, you need medication 8 times a day, you need bringing to the restaurant for every meal, you need the meals taken to your room. Doesn't matter, you're still on basic care. Doesn't matter how much of my care you're using, you're on basic care if you can get up and bathe and dress yourself and you're not in a wheelchair. If you can't bathe and dress yourself, if somebody has to come in the morning and bathe and dress you, that adds about $200 US a month to our costs. And if you're in a wheelchair, it adds about $340 US to our month, dealing with incontinence and wheelchair and moving people out of bed and things like that. So there are sort of 3 levels of care. After that, it's either depends how much of a full-time carer situation you need. Some of our guests have a carer 1-to-1 for 8 hours a day. Other guests have a carer 24 hours, 1-to-1 for a day. And others are in the memory care units where there are carers 24 hours a day within meters of reach. The Thai hospital compared to going to US hospital is probably about between 1/7 and 1/10 of the price. How it compares with being covered by Medicare, I don't know, because all the costs here, the guest would have to pay. So seeing a specialist here, go and visit a specialist in the hospital, probably costs between 10 and 15 US dollars before any medication, before any treatment. So healthcare here is very good, probably not quite as good as the US, and it's quite cheap. But if you're seriously ill, the cost can add up.
Under what circumstances do people who have been with you return to the United States?
Nobody's returned because of medical reasons yet. Nobody's returned because they ran out of money yet. We've only had one guest return to the US, and that was for family. She wanted to be back closer to family. Skype and FaceTime are key. It's one of the reasons we've had to do a lot of work on Wi-Fi throughout the resort. We've got a big facility here. A lot of our guests are doing Skype and FaceTime at strange hours of the day and night in one country or the other to keep in touch with residents. Yeah.
How does being in a different culture impact your residents who are from the United States?
Hardly at all. The biggest impact from my viewpoint is that I think Asian people make very good care staff. Because where we are in Chaing Mai is hugely family-orientated culture. People have a natural respect for the elderly. They expect to look after the elderly. So there's a positive in the fact that most Thais doing a care job are enjoying the job they do. Their reward isn't necessarily the finances. They enjoy doing it. It's part of their culture. The rest of culture, to be honest, most of my guests are immune from because they tend to live in our culture. So they don't get too involved with the rest of Thai culture. But we try to get guests to understand Thai culture, to visit the local temples, to know some local people, to be less insulated from Thailand. But they don't really get affected too much from it. Most of them are watching American TV shows, watching American news programs. They can eat both Thai and Western food. They don't really see too much of the Thai culture. The biggest challenge, I think, is worrying about healthcare costs. It's an unknown. Everything else, my costs, you know what you're going to be paying, you know what's going to happen. Healthcare costs, normal going to the doctor, going to the hospital, routine work, retopping up the medications, that's not a problem. But one big stroke and the whole world changes. Right. Then that's the biggest worry. And it's not, if somebody has a stroke, you can't ship them back to the US tomorrow. You have to be able to pay for the problem when it comes, if it comes. I think that's the biggest worry. The second is being away from family. But that's not, unless the family was local in the US, family can see their relatives just as much in Thailand as they could in the US. They just come here. We encourage people to come for a family holiday. Come for a holiday, see the relatives, have a holiday, go back. If they're far apart in the US, the problem is just the same. If they were local in the US, they do tend to miss the family more. Yeah, I think they're the two biggest problems.
Is my perception of this true, that people who are faced caring with Alzheimer's are more inclined to bring people over to your facility?
The more you need care, the more advantageous it is to come here. The people that need care quite a lot are dementia sufferers. So 50% of my guests have some level of dementia, right from early dementia right up to 24-hour care. And we try to focus on, even with people with dementia or very bad Alzheimer's, giving them a life as close to normal as it's possible to give. And that takes a lot of staff. So even on 24-hour care, my guests can decide to just go and walk around the facility and the carer will follow them. They go on a weekly shopping trip to the large American-type shopping malls in Chaing Mai. But just for somebody on 24-hour care to go shopping, I need to send one carer with one guest and look after the money. They go on the sightseeing excursions. They live as much a life as normal. I'm the optimist when it comes to dementia sufferers. I I'm not as despondent about people having dementia as a lot of people are. Our aim is to try and keep the dementia on a level playing field. Nothing's going to improve it. Taking all the medications in the world is not going to improve your dementia. We're trying to stop it getting worse. Then we're trying to manage how much of a normal life can they have. But from my point of view, how much of the frustration that you obtain living with dementia can we reduce? Because I think a lot of the aggression that you see in dementia sufferers is caused by frustration. If you can relieve the frustration, you get a lot less aggression. At the moment, with all my dementia sufferers, I've only got one dementia sufferer here that is in a worse state than they were a year ago, and that's my own mother. And I think that's caused by the fact that my mother's now nearly 95, and so old age is kicking in to make it tougher to fight the dementia. But everybody else is as good as they were when they came, or better. We've had one guest move from 24-hour care back to independent living. His Alzheimer's hasn't got any better. He's just learned in the year he was here to cope with his Alzheimer's. So yeah, dementia is by far, it dominates my inquiries. It's half of my current guests. Probably 80% of my inquiries come from the US, and probably 80% of those inquiries from the US are dementia related. We expect to grow by one guest a month throughout this year, and next year I think it will move up. On average, it takes a year from initial inquiry to somebody walking through my door.
Wow.
And I've handled 2,500 inquiries in the last 3 years. So I've got a lot of inquiries backed up, but too many people leave it too late. I don't just mean coming to Thailand, I mean moving their relative to some sort of assisted living, some care. They leave it just a little bit too late. They wait till the whole structure's breaking down, then they decide to make the move. I can understand why, but really they're better off getting a little bit of care, a little bit of assistance earlier before the dementia gets too set in. That's only my opinion.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, well, thank you very much. It's good of you to talk to me, and I will stay in touch and see what happens.
Thank you very much. Nice.
Good talking to you. Take care.
To learn more about Care Resort in Thailand and other offshore options, call me at 888-869-9343. Thank you. Goodbye.